What tips do you have for getting your mindset strong, to be the best in the world?
Well, you have to have your vision. You have to be just
Know what you want.
So consumed
Your
by your
clear
vision.
goal.
This is what I would have done differently if I didn't had the knowledge. Okay, is that I would just block out all the negative thoughts and
How do you do that?
you just focus on your goal. Like you're
What you want.
Keep 100% focus. But this is what I would do differently because that stuff is still there though, and that's why I fell into such a bad depression and so much anxiety when I retired because I never processed any of those emotions. And this is over a period of like 10 years. And I was a full-time boxer, and I just kept my mind on the goal, always on the goal, and blocked out all that stuff. What I would do differently is I would have taken up meditation, which I just didn't know at the time. I do TM meditation now.
Meditation?
Yeah, transcendental meditation. That helps to process like a lot of those emotions. And then there's also the mind-body technique where you learn where you have to like you feel those emotions. Like say you have some anger come up, and you have to sit with it, and you have to fully feel it and acknowledge that it's there, and like let it pass through you. Because if you just like hold it in, then it's still gonna come out a back door, right? So for me, I held it in like my whole life, and then all of a sudden it like all came crashing down. So I never processed any of that stuff. I didn't acknowledge it. So those are like some tips, like
Dealing with those things through like meditation, different work, like facing it, not
You
just
have to
pushing it under the rug and thinking it's gonna be okay, or
Right,
not dealing with it.
You have to because it's still there. Like
See, a lot of old fighters, right? That's why they kind of you can go off the rail, right? Like later on because they never deal with it, but they use that to become a great fighter.
Yes, you
All
can.
that stuff under the carpet, right?
You can. I did.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
did.
but you got to
then
deal
I
with
had
it sooner or later.
serious problems when I retired. Like I had serious problems. Like I was like in a very, very bad state. And because I never processed all those emotions. And that wasn't that was from my childhood too.
Mm-hmm.
That was my childhood. And if I didn't have a terrible childhood, I wouldn't have become a fighter.
Yeah.
And then if I didn't have if I'd had some cushy life, I would never have been a fighter. And then I wouldn't have been a good one, So yeah, it did serve me in that way. But, again, I think you have to block out the negativity. You have to block out the outside world and 100% like focus on your vision and where you're trying to go. But I think you also do have to do the mindfulness practice, meditation, release those emotions. Therapists are super helpful.
Love it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, like the top teams like wrestling and these different things, they have mind coaches, right, on staff now.
Yeah.
And that's actually the difference maker, right? And the Olympic teams, right? They have that now.
I mean, I use visualization, and I had a plan. Like when I was training, I made my own plan. It'd be like I'd do my visualization in the morning, then I'd do my running, then I'd have my afternoon practice, and
you
then
do
I'd
your
watch
visualization in the morning
morning and night.
before you go to bed.
First thing in the morning when I wake up, last thing before I went to bed. I did that for a year before I won my first nationals. And all my big fights, I always used visualization. I was very diligent with that. But I was diligent with everything. I was very disciplined. I was super disciplined.
Where did that discipline come from?
I think it was just a personality trait that came from like wanting control. This is what I've learned.
Wanting control of your life.
From like, if you want like amateur psychology, right? Is like people like me that grew up with like a lot of stress in the household and a lot of like fear